Tech staff enter through the kitchen, not the VIP pit. That's the line that stops Jada Bennett in her tracks. She's barely stepped inside the Mirage Sovereign, an $8 billion Vegas casino wrapped in gold-trimmed arrogance, when a security guard cuts her path like a wall of muscle. The man doesn't look at her name badge, doesn't ask questions. Just sizes up the skin tone, the dress suit, and assumes what kind of access she doesn't deserve. Jada stands motionless in her sleek navy blazer, badge clipped prominently with the words, Chief Cybersecurity Architect. Behind her, the grand entrance gleams with polished marble and towering crystal chandeliers. Ahead, just past the double doors marked Authorized Personnel Only, lies the most tightly guarded server room in the American gambling industry, a space she designed from scratch. She tries to speak. "I'm here to supervise the—" "You've been reassigned," the guard interrupts coldly. Tech team enters through the staff corridor. Or did you miss that memo? A subtle silence pulses around her. Cocktail waitresses in sequins glance sideways. A floor manager in a red tuxedo lowers his voice on a walkie-talkie. She catches the word remove. Jada blinks once. No anger, no raised voice, only calculation. The room's temperature might as well have dropped 10 degrees. She lifts her wrist and swipes across her smartwatch with one discreet movement. Behind the watch face, a silent line of code begins to breathe. This isn't the first time they've tried to erase her presence, but it might be the last time they underestimate her control. A second guard arrives. Bigger, less polite. "Miss Bennett, I'm going to have to ask you to leave this area, now." One hand gently grips her upper arm, the kind of grip meant to signal force without bruising. But it's enough. Enough to trigger something deeper than code. As they escort her away from the command center, her command center, Jada says nothing. She's not here to plead for access. She's here to leave them with exactly what they asked for. Silence. But the servers she built don't take orders from men in tuxedos, and in exactly 8 minutes every jackpot in Las Vegas will fall quiet, and the Mirage Sovereign will remember her name. Behind the frosted glass of the control room, red and green indicator lights flash like nervous heartbeats. Giant LED boards track every active slot machine, every roulette spin, every bet placed in real time. It's the brain of the entire casino empire, and the heartbeat is irregular tonight. Inside, a team of engineers sits in ergonomic chairs, murmuring over lines of code and system diagnostics. But none of them look like Jada Bennett. And that's intentional. At the head of the room stands Calvin Rowe, the newly promoted technical director. He's reading aloud the failover protocol for the jackpot redistribution algorithm code that Jada wrote line by line 2 years ago. But Calvin doesn't mention her name. He doesn't need to. The team already knows. They just don't say it. "This segment's risky," one of the engineers says. "It's built to prioritize system ethics over payout velocity." Calvin nods as if the logic is his. "We'll phase it out after this weekend. Cleaner and faster without her little fail-safes." A younger technician leans in. "Didn't she say some of those layers are hardwired? That they adapt based on access permissions?" Calvin doesn't respond. Instead, he walks to the touchscreen interface on the main console and taps a diagnostic window. For a moment, a name flashes in the metadata. Bennett, J. He quickly swipes it away and glances at the door, almost expecting her to walk in. She doesn't, because outside that very door, Jada is being pushed further down the hallway by security. Each step echoes with insult. Her phone buzzes silently, an automated system alert. Tier 1 presence override detected. Red freeze trigger enabled. Countdown initiated. 8 Hunquak. She doesn't smile, doesn't flinch. Back in the control room, someone notices that a small cluster of machines on the eastern slot wing has stopped syncing. Signal lag on node cluster 4, a tech mutters. Might be a router hiccup. Calvin waves it off. Reboot them manually. This is launch night. No errors. As they scramble to correct the issue, no one notices the tiny shift in the system's core logic, one that subtly begins severing outbound commands from the top-level admin accounts. The servers are no longer obeying. They're listening, and they're loyal only to the one who designed their final fallback layer. The woman they just dragged out like she didn't belong. The carpet beneath Jada's heels is velvet black with gold trim, the kind that muffles footsteps and exaggerates silence. She's being marched across the Mirage Sovereign's Grand Promenade, the gaudiest hallway in Las Vegas, where billionaires stroll past baccarat tables sipping $30,000 whiskey. But tonight, they pause to watch something else. A black woman in a navy blazer, surrounded by security, being escorted like a trespasser in her own kingdom. She doesn't speak. She doesn't resist. Her spine is straight, chin lifted just slightly, but her eyes, they burn cold. A cocktail waitress nearly bumps into her, stammers an apology, then realizes who Jada is. The flicker of surprise turns quickly into sympathy. Jada meets her eyes just long enough to say, without words, "This isn't over." Cameras above track every movement. Facial recognition AI, part of a system Jada herself helped architect, identifies her instantly and begins logging the event. Incident logged. Level 1. Displacement. Non-consensual extraction. User ID. J. Bennett. Outside the promenade, whispers begin to spread. Isn't that the woman who built their entire encryption system? Why is she being escorted out like a thief? I heard she found a vulnerability last month they refused to patch. But those whispers stay whispers. No one stands up. A senior pit boss leans into his radio. Get her out through the staff exit. Don't make a scene near the high rollers. Near the end of the hallway, Jada suddenly stops walking. One guard tightens his grip, but she doesn't resist. She just lifts her watch and glances at the screen. The timer is ticking. 05:43 remaining. She tilts her head slightly, as if hearing something no one else can. Inside the server room, node cluster 4 has failed. Cluster 5 is slowing. And the machine learning logic, designed to adapt during internal threats, is beginning to isolate the command structure just as programmed. They don't know it yet, but control has already started slipping from their hands. Jada steps forward again, past the Baccarat Lounge, past the Tech Lounge where junior analysts are still glued to dashboards they no longer control. As she nears the staff exit, she brushes a gold-plated railing. Just for a moment. The biometric scanner built into the metal silently confirms her identity and sends one last encrypted signal. It whispers to the system. She's not gone. She's watching. Have you ever been treated unfairly just because of who you are? If yes, comment 1 below. Your story matters. 3 months earlier, in a silent, windowless subfloor beneath the casino's mainframe, Jada Bennett sits alone under fluorescent light. Her fingers move across the keyboard in a rhythm that only someone like her could understand, part intuition, part vengeance, part engineering masterpiece. The project is called Echelon Red. Officially, it's a disaster recovery protocol, a system-wide lockdown sequence designed to activate during high-level breaches or administrative misuse. Unofficially, it's her line in the sand. A shield against betrayal. Because Jada knew this day would come. She had watched it unfold in smaller ways for years, credit for her work passed off. Raises denied with vague excuses. Code she authored, rewritten by junior staff under a different name. But the worst wasn't the erasure. It was the silent approval. The polite nods from boardroom chairs while her expertise was redirected into someone else's hands. That's when she wrote the fail-safe. Echelon Red is more than a tripwire. It's a thinking system embedded into the casino's infrastructure like nerves in a body. It tracks system-wide behavior, detects contradictions in admin behavior, and listens for one condition: Jada's forceful removal without protocol. If triggered, it doesn't crash the system. It reclaims it. No alarms. No warnings. It begins by silently cutting admin privileges, one rank at a time. Next, it reroutes jackpot logic to loop indefinitely, locking every spin. Finally, it closes all external ports and initiates a full hardware-level encryption sync, rendering the entire $8 billion network unreadable without a triple-key algorithm known only to Jada. She submitted a brief to the board about it. Transparent, fully documented. They never responded. 2 weeks later, Calvin Rowe removed her name from the implementation memo and told the team, "We're simplifying things." But Jada never deleted the core. Instead, she hid it inside a diagnostic routine labeled System Latency Watchdog, something no one would bother inspecting because no one ever takes watchdogs seriously. Now, as she's escorted through the staff hallway, her creation stirs awake behind the walls. In the East Wing, 4 slot machines flicker. In the security hub, a login fails. And in the mainframe, the watchdog begins flagging unauthorized privilege escalations exactly as designed. The system isn't broken. It's obeying its rightful architect. And it's only just begun. A sharp, digital chime echoes through the Eastern Gaming Wing, then abruptly cuts off. One of the Mirage Sovereign's flagship slot machines, a gleaming Golden Pharaoh XL, freezes mid-spin. The reels stop mid-animation, the sound halts mid-jingle, and the payout light flickers. But nothing drops. At first, the crowd doesn't notice. A woman pulls the lever again. Nothing. She calls a floor attendant. "Try resetting it," the attendant says, tapping the control pad behind the machine. Nothing. Then it happens again, and again. Within 2 minutes, 12 machines in the eastern section go dark. No payout, no error message, just silence and a blinking prompt. System override, node unsynchronized. In the control room, a technician jolts upright. "We've got a sync failure. Node cluster 4 just went dead." Calvin frowns. Dead or lagging? The tech types furiously. "Dead and spreading." Another voice from across the room. "Roulette tables just went offline. Sensors aren't registering chip weights." "Reboot them." "We tried. No response from the table logic controllers." Calvin crosses the room and pulls up the master control interface. But when he taps the admin override, the system lags, then flashes a message in plain gray text across the center of the touchscreen. "Access level revoked. Admin privileges suspended." Silence falls. Calvin taps again. Same message. He turns toward the internal camera feed and rewinds it to earlier in the evening. There she is, Jada Bennett, being walked out by security. Timestamp matches the moment the node disruption began. He feels a cold grip on his neck. "Check the firmware logs," he barks. Another technician speaks hesitantly. It looks like a command sequence was initiated from a watchdog utility." Calvin's face turns pale. "What watchdog utility?" But no one answers, because they all know there's only one person who wrote system-level watchdogs into this infrastructure, and she isn't in the building anymore. Somewhere beneath the casino floor, a server pings twice, then isolates another cluster. 3 more slot sections go dark. A drunk gambler slams the machine in frustration. A crowd begins to gather. The whispers grow louder. "Yo, did the whole floor just stop working? I was about to win, swear to God. This is rigged." The Mirage Sovereign doesn't know it yet, but the war is no longer technical. It's personal. And the system? It's choosing sides. It starts with the sound, or rather, the absence of it. Las Vegas casinos hum with a constant rhythm, clinks of coins, electronic jingles, spinning reels, chirping jackpots. But now that rhythm is unraveling. One by one, machines go silent. No payouts, no flashing lights, just blinking warnings and confused faces. A ripple of unease moves through the Mirage Sovereign's main floor. In the high-stakes slot section, a Saudi prince stares at a dead machine after betting $50,000 in a single spin. No sound, no result, just frozen graphics. "Reset this," he growls to an attendant. The attendant's hands tremble. "Sir, I don't have access anymore." In the roulette pit, a dealer manually spins the wheel, but the automated chip tracking system refuses to log bets. A red light flashes on the console. System integrity compromised. Physical override not permitted. Whispers turn to grumbles. Grumbles turn to curses. Security moves fast, trying to calm the crowd. In the control room, the panic becomes visible. "Every jackpot table is locking," one tech shouts. "The AI load balancers gone dark failover systems are rejecting our inputs." "We've lost visual feeds on floor cameras 6 through 19. Calvin leans over the control board, his eyes scanning data like a drowning man searching for shore. His voice is lower now, tight with fear. "Check external access logs. Maybe someone's attacking us from outside." But the reply comes cold and fast. "There's no external breach. This is internal. It's like the system's rewriting admin levels on its own." He stares at the timestamp. 0412. Remaining. In that moment, Calvin remembers something. A conversation in the boardroom 2 months ago. Jada had stood in front of the executives, hands clasped behind her back, calmly presenting a worst-case system contingency. "If ever an admin is removed without protocol, I've coded a passive response. Not destructive, just corrective." They'd laughed. One executive had said, "We don't need a philosopher writing code." Now, outside the control room's soundproof walls, chaos grows louder. Dozens of slot machines are dark. Customers shout over one another. Staff scramble for answers they don't have. And Jada? She stands in the staff parking garage, staring at her smartwatch. Her screen reads, "Tier 2 lock active, jackpot freeze, 64% complete." She doesn't move. She doesn't speak. She simply waits. Because justice, in her world, isn't loud. It's surgical, and it always arrives on time. Do you think Jada was right to prepare her system like this? If you support her, comment, "Respect Jada" below. Let's show her she's not alone. Inside the operations center, the digital clock ticks like a war drum. A red countdown pulses across the main screen. 0402, 0359, 358. The room is dead silent. No one's typing. No one's breathing too loud. Because no one understands what they're looking at. Except Calvin. He stares at the center of the screen, where a message has appeared in neutral, unemotional font. "Equal pay or zero play. 3 seconds later, every other monitor in the control room flickers, and that same message duplicates across them all. Security monitors, jackpot logs, even the internal casino email system. A technician gasps. It's in the broadcast core. That message isn't just for us, it's preloaded to go public. Where's it uploading to? Calvin asks. Every screen in the casino, and every livestream plugin connected to our high roller tournament tonight. They're about to be humiliated in front of 12 million live viewers. Calvin turns to the legal officer standing near the door. Call the board. Call PR. We've got 4 minutes before every client sees this. The man just nods and bolts from the room. Back on the casino floor, screens meant for promotions and jackpot teasers now show the same blood-red countdown, synchronized down to the millisecond. Players are frozen, watching the numbers slip towards 0. One gambler mutters, "What is this, a heist?" A voice nearby answers, "This ain't Ocean's 11. This is inside." Meanwhile, in a penthouse meeting room 10 floors above, the Mirage Sovereign's board of directors watches the chaos unfold on a wall of TVs. No one speaks until one woman says quietly, "Didn't she warn us about this?" Another replies bitterly, "She asked for authority and a raise. We said she needed to earn trust first." Back in the parking garage, Jada sits in her car. Calm. Quiet. Her smartwatch pings. Phase 3 loaded. Final lock imminent. She leans back in her seat, closes her eyes, and exhales slowly. The system is behaving exactly as designed. But it's not just code she wrote. It's a message. To every company that promoted the wrong man. To every boardroom that forgot her name. To every guard who said, "This area's not for you." And in 2 minutes, 46 seconds, that message will echo across Las Vegas. And no one will be able to silence it. Calvin's fingers tremble over the touchscreen console as he tries every override command he knows. The system doesn't just ignore him, it responds with insultingly polite denials. Permission denied. Admin rank insufficient. Please contact the system's lead architect. That last line stings the most. Pull the backups, he snaps. We'll do a total reboot from cold storage. But the backup interface is already offline. The technician answers without looking up. We don't have backup authority anymore. The root key's gone. How the hell is that possible? Because the root key isn't stored. It's split, remember? Multi-factor authentication tied to biometric signature and something called the intention layer. Calvin freezes. He remembers. Jada had pitched it during a closed-door meeting, a final control mechanism that couldn't be activated by accident or by theft. It would only work if a trusted user's intent matched a preset ethical protocol. She'd called it behavioral triggering. They laughed it off as science fiction. "This is Vegas," the CFO had said, "not a morality contest." Now the entire $8 billion system is obeying her ethics and rejecting theirs. Another tech chimes in, pale and stunned. She wrote herself in as the ethical root user. She's the only person the system still recognizes as valid. The room is silent. Then someone mutters, "We have to contact her. Now." "No," Calvin says. His pride is cracked, but not gone. "We can fix this." But another voice rises, Samantha Chell, the casino's operations chief. "She was dragged out of here in front of every executive and high roller. You think she's going to give us back control just because we finally noticed?" They all turn to the feed of the floor. Jackpot machines frozen. Players yelling. Dealers standing idle. No money moving. Not a single cent of house profit being made. Then the lights dim. Not blacked out, just softened. Every TV screen in this casino switches to the same visual, a black background, white text. Injustice has a price. It's being paid now. Calvin stares at it, jaw clenched. Then another message. 2 huaquac remaining. He finally whispers, "Call her." But outside, in the warm Las Vegas night, Jada's phone is on silent. She sees the call come in. She doesn't answer. Not yet. She's not done showing them what control really looks like. At 1:12 a.m., Mirage Sovereign's legal team makes the call. Declare a cybersecurity breach. Publicly, that's the only narrative they're willing to admit to. It's cleaner than the truth. Safer. Within minutes, the FBI's cyber division is looped in. An incident response team arrives on site by helicopter, escorted through the back entrance like elite surgeons walking into a failing operating room. They're met by Calvin, drenched in sweat, stammering through jargon. It's a sophisticated intrusion, possibly ransomware, maybe an internal mole. We need you to reverse engineer access and reestablish control. But Agent Naomi Truss isn't buying it. She's been in this business too long. Her team boots up diagnostics, runs packet sniffers, scans for foreign access points. Nothing. Start from the event timeline, she says. They trace the disruption back, minute by minute. Every command, every line of logic. All the way back to a silent trigger from a subroutine titled Watchdog Lat Sync V2. Bennett Protocol. Agent Truss narrows her eyes. You're calling this a hack? Calvin hesitates. Yes. I mean, it behaves like one. No, it doesn't, she says flatly. She turns her laptop so everyone in the room can see. A clean, elegant string of code. No malware. No external pings. No firewall breaches. Just an internal sequence, written with precision. This isn't a breach, she says. This is a feature, built into the system deliberately, with executive-level permissions. But she locked us out, Calvin protests. She's hijacking the casino. Truss folds her arms. No, she authored the system. You removed her without protocol. You triggered a condition she warned you about, and now her code is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Enforce justice. The room is silent. Then another tech reads aloud a line from the watchdog's behavior script. If administrative violence occurs, override agency hierarchy and return system to moral steward. It wasn't an attack. It was reclamation. Downstairs, the slot floor is now in full standstill. High rollers are demanding refunds. Tourists are live streaming the chaos. On TikTok, the trending clip is a wide shot of the casino with the text, 8 billion casino just got humbled by the woman they fired. And somewhere in the comment flood, her name is Jada Bennett. Say it with respect. In the garage, Jada finally glances at her phone. Another call. Missed again. This time from the casino's CEO. She flips her watch screen and reads the newest system update. Final lock engaged. Public broadcast in 1 omkich. It's no longer about control. Now, it's about the truth going live. At exactly 1:14 a.m., Las Vegas holds its breath. Every major resort on the Strip from the Mirage Sovereign to the Golden Crown operates using overlapping layers of infrastructure. Slot data, VIP card systems, camera surveillance, and payout synchronization all pass through shared security APIs. And Jada, she's worked on all of them. That's why, when the Sovereign locks up, the others begin to stutter. At the Gemini, jackpot lights dim prematurely. At Orion Palace, automated poker payouts freeze. At Crimson Sun, The touchscreen kiosks refuse to log in. Executives across the Strip panic. Phones light up in every tower suite. Chief technical officers call each other with voices full of fear. Is this happening to you too? Do you use Jada Bennett's security layer? Oh God. She worked for us back in 2022. Within 15 minutes, 7 casinos report malfunctions. And the media? They're eating it up. Breaking news banners flash across national broadcasts. Vegas Strip paralyzed. Tech meltdown at multiple casinos. Inside the Mirage Sovereign, players chant angrily near the cashier stations. Fix the machines! Give us our money! This is robbery! Some pull out their phones and live stream the chaos. One man yells into the camera, "This whole building's run by billionaires who treat their own people like dirt. Guess what? The system just shut them down." The feed goes viral. Back in the boardroom, the Mirage CEO, Everett Lang, is pale and trembling. He stares at a monitor that no longer shows system metrics. Only this message. You were warned. She offered fairness. You chose silence. Lang turns to Calvin. You said this was just one engineer. Calvin nods, broken. It was. Then how is she doing this from the outside? She's not. She's doing it from underneath. Because the system she built wasn't just a program. It was a mirror reflecting back the value of those it served. And when it was stripped of that value, it didn't collapse. It retaliated. Across town, a group of junior cybersecurity engineers, most of them black and brown, sit in a cafe watching the news feed in awe. One of them whispers, "She's rewriting the rules in real time." Back in her car, Jada receives a push notification. Public broadcast initiated, now streaming to 12.4 million viewers. On the dashboard screen, her recorded message begins to play, but she doesn't watch it. She just drives. Slowly, calmly, past the Mirage, past the blinking chaos, and past the front entrance where security told her, "Tech staff use the kitchen." Not tonight. Tonight, the Strip belongs to her. Just as Jada's pre-recorded message begins streaming across 12 million devices, a second video, unauthorized and unexpected, suddenly appears on social media. The account that posts it is anonymous. No profile picture, no name, just a caption. You wanted to know why she was removed? Listen. The video opens on a grainy clip of a closed-door meeting. The setting is familiar, an executive briefing room inside the Mirage Sovereign, dated 3 weeks ago. Sitting around a long table, Everett Lang, Calvin Rowe, and several board members. The voices are muffled at first, but the captions make it clear. And then the room falls silent as one man says, "She's too visible. I'm not saying she isn't good hell. She's probably the best we've got. But a black woman leading our security team? It sends the wrong message." Another voice follows. "Clients feel safer with someone they trust. Let's just say Jada's profile isn't the kind of face they expect in charge." Laughter. A toast. Glasses clinking. Then Calvin adds, "We'll let her finish the deployment, then reassign her. Quietly." The clip ends. The internet does not. Within minutes, Hatchet say her name Jada climbs to the #1 trending tag in the US, followed by Mirage Exposed, Built by Bennett, and Justice Protocol. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, platform after platform ignites. One popular creator reposts the clip with the caption, "They didn't just fire her, they erased her. She warned them. They laughed. Now she's running Vegas. News outlets scramble to verify the video's authenticity, but former staffers begin to speak out, confirming what many suspected. That meeting happened. I saw the memo. She built the entire system. Alone. At Mirage HQ, the boardroom goes into meltdown. PR teams scream across phone lines. Lawyers argue over liability. Calvin sits in a corner, phone in hand, watching his reputation disintegrate post by post. He opens Twitter, searches Jada Bennett. The first tweet reads, "You never should have touched her code. You never should have touched her." Back in her car, Jada receives an anonymous text. Just 2 words. They heard. She leans her head back. Not to rest. To breathe. Because this wasn't just revenge. It was revelation. And now the world sees it too. Inside the top floor of the Mirage Sovereign, the air is thick with panic. Executives shuffle between phones. Lawyers whisper to each other with red faces, and every screen shows a split broadcast. Jada's pre-recorded message on one side and the leaked boardroom recording on the other. There is no escape. Outside, protesters have begun to form fast. Some hold printed screenshots of Jada's badge. Others carry signs. We work the system. We build the system. We own the system. Inside the crisis room, the CEO Everett Lang clutches a draft statement with shaking hands. "It's too late for a press release," says the head of PR. "You need to speak. Directly. Live." Everett stares into the wall of cameras now patched into the same live stream Jada used just moments ago. His face is pale, the illusion of control long gone. He clears his throat and steps forward. The feed goes live. He opens with words no one at Mirage has ever said publicly. "Tonight, the Mirage Sovereign experienced a complete shutdown. We were not attacked, we were corrected." The room behind him is silent. Every exec is watching their careers burn in real time. "We failed Jada Bennett. She was the architect of our security infrastructure. She warned us. We didn't listen. She built a system not only to protect this casino, but to protect herself from it. We dismissed her voice. We dismissed her value. And that ends now." He pauses. His voice cracks. "Effective immediately, Mirage Sovereign will allocate $300 million toward equity reform, diversity-led tech leadership programs, and security autonomy guarantees across all subsidiaries." A beat of silence. "And to Jada Bennett, wherever you are, we apologize. Not just for removing you, but for pretending you didn't build the very thing we depend on." The screen fades to black. Then a new message appears, clearly not written by the PR team. "Apology received, terms accepted, systems restoring." In the control room, dashboards flicker back to life. Slot machines reboot. Jackpot tables light up. The casino exhales. But something's different. As systems return, a new banner flashes across every machine in the Mirage. Security Oversight, J. Bennett, protected by design. No one dares remove it. Because now her name is written into the walls. And this time, it's staying. If you believe in justice, equity, and giving people credit for what they build, comment "justice" below. Let's make sure voices like Jada's are never erased again. At exactly 2:00 a.m., the heart of Mirage Sovereign starts beating again. Slot machines awaken one by one, like soldiers returning from battle. Roulette tables light up. Blackjack tables reset. The servers, silent for over an hour, hum back to life, steady, obedient, and clean. But now, they're different. Each device flashes a new boot up banner. System integrity restored. Protected by J. Bennett. Guests cheer as machines restart. But something deeper is happening. Respect has entered the building. Security guards who had sneered at Jada earlier now avoid eye contact. One of them whispers to another, "We kicked out the wrong person." In the control room, a technician gasps as full access returns to their consoles. But the system interface now includes something it never did before. A black and gold watermark at the bottom of every admin panel. A text reads, "Original architect Jada Bennett, verified steward." Calvin sits slumped at his desk, watching his own admin rights return, but only under the tier of temporary observer. He knows what that means. He's no longer trusted. Not by the system. Not by the world. Not by her. Elsewhere in the casino, gamblers are offered bonuses for the disruption. One woman looks into her camera and says, "I came for slots. I witnessed history." In a penthouse lounge, journalists are setting up equipment, not to cover poker, but to talk about labor, race, and the future of ethical coding. Jada's name is now trending across 7 countries, and then, as if scripted, she walks in. Through the same entrance they once denied her. The cameras catch her instantly. Guests begin clapping not wildly, but with quiet certainty. Recognition. Power. She doesn't wave. She doesn't stop. She walks through the lobby like someone who belongs, not because she forced it, but because the system finally said so. Near the baccarat tables, a senior technician steps aside and says softly, "It's yours again." Jada nods once. Not to thank him, but to confirm it never stopped being hers. The surveillance AI, once programmed to track her as a guest, now highlights her with the tag, "Owner level active." She walks past the high-limit slots, past the executive bar, and toward the back end of the command room. And the door, the one that locked her out just hours ago, opens without a sound. She steps in, takes her seat. The system welcomes her back. "Hello, Jada. Integrity restored." By sunrise, the Mirage Sovereign is the most talked-about place on the planet, and not for any jackpot. CNN runs a headline, "The woman who shut down Las Vegas and turned it back on." Bloomberg reports, "Cybersecurity built on ethics. Jada Bennett's code freezes 8 Bulolo empire." But the most powerful story isn't on TV. It's in the conversations happening inside corporate boardrooms, college classrooms, and social feeds worldwide. At a Vegas tech conference across the street, the morning keynote speaker abandons his prepared remarks. Instead, he taps into the moment. "We've spent years debating AI safety, digital ethics, systemic bias, and then a black woman embedded all of that into one casino's code base, and when they silenced her, her work spoke louder." The crowd stands and applauds. Not because it's trendy, but because it's true. That same morning, Jada's inbox overflows with offers. A $10 million contract from a private security firm to redesign their ethical architecture. Her 2 Ivy League universities inviting her to lead advisory boards. In a coalition of casinos asking her to audit and rebuild their digital defenses. But Jada doesn't respond to any of them. Not yet. Because she's back in the server vault alone, calm, deliberate. She's reviewing the audit logs, not to gloat, but to confirm that the system didn't just punish the people who wronged her, it protected everyone who played fair. Small employees, honest pit bosses, silent allies who questioned the leadership but couldn't speak out. They were shielded. That's the legacy she really built. Across the city, a junior software engineer named Malik, fresh out of college, watches the live stream and says to his sister, "She's not just a tech legend, she's a blueprint." Back at Mirage, a cocktail waitress approaches Jada quietly. "You remember me?" she asks. "From last night, near the Baccarat lounge." Jada nods. "You bumped into me." The woman grins. "You said nothing, but your eyes said, 'Watch what happens next.'" "I did. And I'm glad." Outside the casino, people are still arriving. Not to gamble, but to witness. To take selfies in front of the now famous scrolling marquee, "System restored, integrity by J. Bennett." Mirage staff try to manage the crowd. Tour buses reroute. Local police observe but don't interfere. Because what's unfolding isn't a protest, it's a pilgrimage. And the woman who once entered through the staff corridor? She just changed an industry without touching a single jackpot. 1 week later, Las Vegas isn't the same. Neither is Silicon Valley. Neither is the casino industry. Because what Jada Bennett did that night wasn't just a system reset, it was a precedent. And everyone who saw it knows. The old rules don't work anymore when the code itself refuses to obey injustice. At the Mirage Sovereign, the boardroom has been gutted. Literally. The room where Jada's removal was plotted is now empty. Its chairs auctioned off for charity, its carpet ripped up, its walls replaced with glass. Transparency, they claim. But it's more than symbolic. The casino announces the launch of the Bennett Fellowship, a full-ride scholarship and mentorship pipeline for Black and brown students in cybersecurity and ethical AI. It's funded directly from the $300 million Equality Fund they promised on livestream. Other casinos follow suit. Golden Crown offers to rewrite its back-end protocols under Jada's supervision. Crimson Sun hosts a Diversity in Tech Summit with Jada as keynote speaker. Even global hotel chains start reassessing their hiring models after investor pressure tied directly to public reaction from the Vegas freeze. The shockwave reaches Capitol Hill. A congressional committee requests Jada's testimony for upcoming legislation on AI autonomy and digital civil rights. And the Department of Labor? They open an investigation into workplace discrimination in high-tech sectors using Mirage Sovereign's boardroom recording as a case study. But Jada doesn't race to Washington. She doesn't rush into interviews. She doesn't claim revenge. Instead, she does what she's always done. She builds. In a shared workspace on the outskirts of Vegas, Jada codes quietly. The lights are low. No media. No meetings. What she's working on isn't for casinos. It's for everyone. A universal ethics layer, an open-source protocol designed to protect workers, users, and systems from administrative abuse, no matter the industry. A logic chain that listens not just for commands, but for intent. It's called Red Watch, Real Equity by Design. And companies are already lining up to adopt it. One reporter finally tracks Jada down, asking, "You just rewrote how people think about code, control, and power. What are you going to do next?" She replies, "I'm going to make sure the next girl like me never needs a fail-safe." Because the real victory wasn't freezing a billion-dollar casino. It was proving that justice can be built in line by line. And now the world's watching. And reprogramming. It's been exactly 1 month since the night Las Vegas went quiet. The Mirage Sovereign is fully operational again. Jackpots ring out. The Strip glows like nothing ever happened. Tourists flood the gaming floor, unaware of the revolution that occurred beneath their feet. But the employees remember. And today, so does the city. A black SUV pulls up to the Mirage's front entrance. No valet waves her off. No security guard questions her badge. There's no need. The doors swing open before she even reaches them. A subtle hush rolls across the lobby. Everyone knows who she is. Jada Bennett. She steps inside slowly, not like a guest, not like a client, but like someone returning to something that was always hers. This time, she isn't in her navy blazer. She wears a sleeveless black dress. Elegant. Unapologetic. Her watch still glows softly, but it doesn't need to flash warnings anymore. She passes by the Baccarat Lounge, where the same waitress who once looked at her with pity now offers a proud nod. A few technicians near the elevator straighten up when they see her. One whispers, "She made silence loud." Jada walks through the executive corridor, her heels clicking calmly against the tile. She doesn't rush. Every step is deliberate. Every hallway once closed to her is now lined with portraits, new ones. Technologists, architects, women and men who look like her. When she reaches the control room, a younger black engineer opens the door for her and says simply, "Welcome back, Ms. Bennett." She smiles. For real this time. Inside, the entire system dashboard has changed. Not just cosmetically, functionally. Her fail-safes have become features. Her protocols, once dismissed as excessive, are now standard. The bottom corner of every screen reads, "Protected by Red Watch Real Equity by Design." Jada walks past the main console to a private terminal and logs in. The system greets her. Root identity, J. Bennett, primary architect. All tiers unlocked. She scans the network. Everything is stable. More secure than ever. But it's not about safety anymore. It's about presence. The board tried to erase her from the system. She wrote herself into its memory. As she exits the control room, a reporter from a tech magazine catches her near the elevator. "Ms. Bennett," he says breathlessly, "can I ask you something?" She turns. Waits. He smiles. "That night was it revenge?" She pauses. Then answers, "No. Revenge is personal. What I built? That was a correction." She steps into the elevator. And it was overdue. The doors close. Behind them, a legacy remains not one built on applause, but on code, consequence, and the refusal to be unseen. Because Jada didn't just crash a casino. She rewrote the rules. And this time, they run on her terms.